DC here. Hi, guys and gals. Well, I'm going to do a Spooky University. I'm getting ready to go to work, but for particular reasons, I'm leaving later today, going off somewhere for a business meeting. So I have time to do the Spooky University. It's Spooky University number 101, and I got it here on the computer. The subject today is... Oh, it's all about hugging. This week's topic, when do you need a hug? And little questions, when do you need a hug, are you a hugger or not so much? You usually know when others need a hug. Okay, when do you need a hug? As often as people want to give it to me. No, I would say, like anybody, I'll need a hug if I'm feeling down. But I really love a hug if I'm happy. And any free hug from, oh, you hear the ring? Any free hug from a person that I love is great. A free hug from a person that I don't know, I'll tell you, I'm not quite certain always about that. Sometimes you will see... do you need a hug? Now I can get that people might want to, gratuitously give away hugs, and you know something? I've sometimes wondered, why wouldn't I do it? And I have. We'll get to that in a few seconds. So now, one of the things about hugs, it, of course, is this very much this big cultural thing, and there's actually a big gender thing, which people can change over time. It's a family thing also, a generational thing. When we were kids living in Canada, it was something like, men shake hands, might, give a good tap on the shoulder or something like that. But at least in our families, men didn't give hugs that much. I mean, to people of the same sex, and that has changed as well. But I'll get to that in a second. And then we would have, of course, all those unwanted hugs from Great Aunt Gertrude or something like that. You know what I mean? The ones where they basically rip your cheeks off. While they're giving you a big kiss with their stale perfume and so on. Yeah, those times. And I kind of think that somehow in that respect, we kind of got stilted or something. Then I met, when I was at university, I remember meeting people that were from other cultures then, be it usually, be it Middle East or African and when they kind of meet up together, they'd kind of like give themselves a big hug, and we found that kind of cool actually. But it was something you reserve for when somebody would go off for a long time or something like that. Moving over to Europe, we realized that hugging, it depends. Like if you take in Switzerland, the Swiss Germans don't hug; they shake hands. Except exceptional situations. The Swiss romans, which are more the Latin ones, you give yourself a kiss, you give yourself a hug, and I actually, when we lived in Geneva, I got used to that. You meet up with our friends, and even here, where we live here, on the border between the German and the Swiss German and the Swiss French part, there's a lot of guys when I meet up. In a social setting, give a big hug, a kiss, and with a kiss, I mean, not the Russian type of kiss. A kiss on each, actually Swiss give 3, 1, 2, 3, and I think that's something like that. And it's when I say it's evolved. At one point, I was mentioning that to someone, that the hugging thing has evolved. Like for example, with our children, we have 2 boys. Always hug them a lot, and when we meet up, it doesn't matter where we are. We'll kiss and we'll say hug and kiss, and show those emotions. Now, I am the type of person, and Mrs. DC as well. I mean, if we feel that somebody needs a hug, you give it to them, and I feel that it's really something that you can kind of sense. You know, like somebody is like stressed out or what. You can give that hug. It's different in a work setting, of course. Now, in a work setting, you know, you have to be really careful about how that is, and especially in today's world. You know, you can't even look at a person now, especially of the other sex, without, you know, being accused of something. Well, that's something else. Now, what was other type of questions? Do you usually know? Yeah, like I say, somehow you just kind of feel it. Now, I tend to be, I don't know if we can say a hugger, or, you know, place a hand on someone. And yeah, this I do tend to do a little bit less in the work setting because of, you know, the way things have evolved over years. I never was one of those touchy-feely persons too much with people of the other sex at work, you know, because there was the whole ethics thing, of course, and we had very strict rules, you know, like even from the beginning, like how you would discuss with somebody of the other sex. But that's not the topic today. So about hugs, I probably wouldn't go into the train station and say, "Do you need a hug?" But within the people, even of a larger circle, like I did a lot of work in the church, and we would have people you knew they needed a hug, and you would go and meet them, and it might not be the, you know, the bear hug, but, you know, you put your arm around them and ask how they're feeling, and all of a sudden in that conversation something changes. And like I say, it's not maybe the bear hug, but it's really, you know, something. It's evolved over time. I mean, really much so. And I think it's very much evolved by us moving over to Europe, continental Europe, and even elsewhere it's changed. Like in England, when we used to live in England, you know, people didn't hug very much. They shook hands. And now, if I go over and meet up with people, okay, it's been a while, but even before, you know, even if it'd been a while, you would just give a stiff handshake or something like that. But now, even with the guys, I mean, if we meet up, it's been a while, it'll be a big hug. My Irish friends, even some of them at work, every now and then, if it's been a long time we haven't seen each other, or after something emotional, it'll be a big hug. Doesn't last long, but it's there. And I mean, it's something that I'm certain we didn't used to do. People, maybe slowly with time, are becoming more open with their emotions. And at the same time, people are becoming more cautious, because in today's world, we all have to be so careful that we don't offend people or give wrong impressions. So I'm kind of wondering if with time, you know, if we're going to hug more or hug less as things go. I mean, have we, like, you know, gone on to the top of the hill and now we're starting to go down? We'll find out. Anyway, I think I've certainly been talking long enough. Have I answered the questions? Kind of. What was really nice, actually, talking about hugging, is I remember when the first time that you meet with somebody like when we met Irene Tweetness, that first time, you know, that you go from a virtual hug, so to say, to actually meeting up with somebody that's flesh and bones. I just remember that first time, it was like, you're real. I remember looking at each other, and we just wanted to, like, grab and give each other a big hug, because all of a sudden somebody went from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. And that might be actually one of the secrets of hugs, is that it brings that relationship further from 2-dimensional to multi-dimensional. Maybe that's what I've been trying to say all the time. Geesh, I could have said that a lot faster, couldn't I? Okay. DC signing off. Take care, everybody. And I gotta go off to work now. Bye-bye. Take care. Close this thing. Bye. Yeah, I'm gonna close it. Close it. Close it. Bye.